If you are over the age of 65, you need to listen to this without denial, without excuses, and without the false comfort that this happens to everyone. Memory loss is not an unavoidable part of aging, and it is not something that suddenly appears out of nowhere. It is a slow, silent process that builds day after day, meal after meal, often driven by one extremely common food that millions of seniors consume daily, believing it to be harmless or even healthy. Refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, white rice, sugary breakfast cereals, pastries, biscuits, cakes, and other processed grain-based foods, are quietly damaging the aging brain in ways that most people do not feel until the damage is already advanced. After the age of 65, the brain undergoes critical biological changes. Insulin sensitivity declines, chronic low-grade inflammation increases, blood vessels become less flexible, and the brain's ability to clear metabolic waste slows down. When refined carbohydrates are eaten, they cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, and in older adults, these spikes are not handled efficiently. Instead of being absorbed smoothly by cells, glucose floods the bloodstream and triggers inflammatory signals that reach the brain. Over time, brain cells, neurons, become resistant to insulin, which is essential for memory formation, learning, and communication between brain regions. This condition has become so well documented that many neurologists now refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes, because the brain is literally starving for usable energy despite high blood sugar levels in the body. The hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for forming new memories and recalling old ones, is especially vulnerable to this process. Repeated exposure to sugar spikes shrinks hippocampal volume, weakens synaptic connections, and disrupts neurotransmitters that allow thoughts to flow clearly. This is why memory loss does not start dramatically. It begins quietly. You forget a name you have known for years. You walk into a room and forget why you were there. You lose track of a conversation halfway through a sentence. You repeat the same question without realizing it. At first, you brush it off. You tell yourself it's stress, age, or tiredness. But inside your brain, damage is accumulating. Large-scale studies from institutions such as the Mayo Clinic and Harvard School of Public Health have shown that seniors who consume diets high in refined carbohydrates have up to an 80 to 90% higher risk of cognitive impairment compared to those who follow diets lower in sugar and refined grains. One long-term study found that older adults with the highest carbohydrate intake had more than 3 times the risk of developing dementia compared to those who consumed higher amounts of healthy fats and proteins. This is not speculation. Brain imaging studies show measurable reductions in brain volume and connectivity in seniors with chronically elevated blood sugar. Even moderate daily intake, toast at breakfast, cereal in the morning, white rice at lunch, could be enough to push the aging brain into a constant inflammatory state. What makes this especially dangerous is that refined carbohydrates are often marketed to seniors as easy to digest, light, or safe, when in reality they are metabolically aggressive. Unlike whole foods that digest slowly and provide stable energy, refined carbs hit the bloodstream like a shock wave. The older the brain, the less resilient it is to these shocks. Over time, inflammation damages the blood-brain barrier, allowing harmful substances to enter brain tissue, further accelerating cognitive decline. Clinical neurologists have documented thousands of cases where patients in their late 60s and 70s showed early signs of memory loss, confusion, and reduced mental clarity, only to stabilize or improve after removing refined carbohydrates from their diets. In structured intervention programs led by experienced clinicians with decades of practice, patients who eliminated these foods and replaced them with stable energy nutrition, such as protein, vegetables, and healthy fats, showed measurable improvements in memory recall, attention span, and verbal fluency within 3 to 6 months. Some showed improvement as little as 8 weeks. These are not miracle cures, they are biological corrections. The brain, even in older age, retains a degree of plasticity, meaning it can repair and strengthen connections if the damaging input is removed. But this window is not unlimited. The longer refined carbohydrates remain a daily habit, the more permanent the damage becomes. This is why early action matters so much. Removing refined carbs does not mean starvation or extreme dieting. It means stopping foods that provide fast sugar with no protective nutrients and replacing them with foods that support brain chemistry. Protein provides amino acids that build neurotransmitters. Healthy fats, especially omega-3 fatty acids from fish, olive oil, nuts, and seeds, form the structural material of brain cell membranes and reduce inflammation. Vegetables provide antioxidants that protect neurons from oxidative stress. Timing also matters. Studies show that consuming sugar or refined carbs later in the day worsens nighttime brain inflammation and disrupts sleep-related memory consolidation. Seniors who avoid refined carbohydrates after the afternoon show better cognitive test scores and improved mental clarity. The idea that it's too late after 65 is simply wrong, but the idea that you can keep eating the same foods without consequences is equally wrong. Memory loss is not just about forgetting facts, it is about losing independence. It is about needing reminders, supervision, and eventually assistance for tasks you once handled effortlessly. It affects dignity, relationships, and quality of life. Families suffer alongside the individual, watching someone they love slowly fade mentally while believing nothing can be done. But something can be done, and it starts with removing what is actively harming the brain. Every day you continue eating refined carbohydrates, you reinforce the biological processes that weaken memory. Every day you stop, you reduce inflammation, stabilize brain energy, and give your neurons a chance to function properly. This is not about perfection, it is about direction. The brain does not fail suddenly in old age. It declines gradually when it is fed the wrong fuel for too long. By choosing foods that support brain health instead of sabotaging it, you are choosing clarity over confusion, independence over dependence, and control over helplessness. Aging does not have to mean losing your mind, but it does require taking responsibility for what you put on your plate. Your brain carried you through decades of work, family, decisions, and experiences. Protecting it now is not optional. It's essential if you want to preserve your memory, your autonomy, and your sense of self for as long as possible.